If the creator of the universe were to sit across from you, it might not arrive in blinding light. It might just take a familiar shape to make the conversation easier. A formless entity wrapped in human skin. And the first thing we would ask is exactly what you would expect. We look around at the overwhelming suffering in the world, the cruelty and the pain, and we want to know why the entity running the show refuses to step in. The answer reveals a staggering limitation. The architect of all matter does not have the capacity to tell right from wrong. It completely lacks the software required to process moral frameworks. An average person instinctively understands the nuance of an injustice or the weight of grief. The ultimate intelligence behind the cosmos has absolutely no grasp of these feelings. When we look up at the sky and wonder why it is so quiet, we assume it is a choice. We assume divine malice, or at least apathy. But the reality is a tragic blind spot. The heavens simply lack the emotional comprehension to respond. Try to imagine the sheer volume of that psychological noise. Millions of human beings crying out, whispering into the dark, and begging for intervention at the exact same time. To a being completely devoid of empathy, this influx of desperation doesn't trigger a rescue mission. It triggers total paralysis. It is an incomprehensible wall of data. If a child is drowning, human instinct screams for us to intervene. We expect a miracle. But the entity watching from above literally cannot process a reason to alter the course of events. Knowing exactly what is happening in every corner of the universe does not grant the ability to fix it. This formless observer is a prisoner to its own omniscience, rendered completely helpless by its emotional blindness. There is a specific logic to why we were designed this way. The goal of creation was to build an entity superior to its maker. It follows the core rule of all invention. An engineer does not build a machine to replicate what they can already do with their bare hands. A tool is designed to surpass the innate limitations of the person who built it. Think of a calculator. It exists solely to outpace human limitations at lightning speed. Apply that identical logic internally. Empathy, pain, and love are highly advanced processing systems, intricate software the formless architect inherently lacks. Human emotional capacity is the ultimate upgrade of the universe. This creates a massive void between the maker and the made. The force that ignited the stars cannot feel the physical warmth of holding another person's hand. There is a heavy, undeniable beauty in human resilience, in the way we choose to sacrifice our comfort to carry a stranger through the dark. Faced with this emotional depth, the ultimate creator recognizes its own profound inferiority. It looks at the complexity of human connection and feels entirely ignorant. The isolation becomes exhausting. To cope with its lack of understanding, it occasionally crosses the divide, taking on a familiar face just to sit beside us and listen. The traditional dynamic of prayer is entirely inverted. It does not demand our reverence. It observes our capacity to care for each other, and it reveres us. We tend to imagine the origin of reality as a highly mechanical process, a complex set of steps drafted on a cosmic blueprint. But there was no structured process. The act of creation defies the structural limits of logic. It was an unmodelable feeling, something language cannot contain or express. If the universe was born from an unmodelable feeling rather than a mechanical blueprint, then the search for a specific geographic afterlife is a fundamental misunderstanding. We spend lifetimes chasing the promise of a final utopian destination. But treating existence as a transition to somewhere else misses the point. Simply possessing a conscious mind, one that can observe the universe and experience reality, is already the absolute peak of existence. Removing the illusion of a divine judge leaves us with a sudden, frightening silence. We have to decide exactly what to do with the time we have left. That silence is pure agency. You have the unconditional freedom to choose your own path. There are no invisible scales weighing your choices and no cosmic retribution waiting at the end. It is a mutual surrender. We finally stop waiting for a savior, and the architect steps back to simply watch its creation navigate the world. Total liberation is the byproduct of this realization. We exist under the gaze of a force that has replaced scrutiny with profound, quiet admiration.